Hello, everyone. My name is Lee Remain. Today, I'm presenting my final project, The Ghost of Huddersfield, Luddism, and the Ethics of AI in the Human-Machine Area. A bit of a mouthful, I'm sorry. This work explores how we can reclaim digital agency and protect the human through line in the TESOL classroom. The Luddite movement was a demand for dialogue, not a rage against technology itself, but what the movement was about was they wanted a seat at the table as craftsmen or women of their own future. When we look at the rhetoric used to silence them in 1912, I see the exact same what I call rules of inevitability used today. They were told the power looms were an unstoppable tide. The Leeds Mercury 1812, that's an old newspaper. Today, we are told AI is the genie out of the bottle and resistance is futile. I wanted to start with going back to the origins of the Luddite movement and my hometown. Okay, so you can see this map here. Huddersfield's kind of right in the middle of England. Some major cities, Leeds, Manchester, you might know, but Huddersfield is my town. So a few facts about Huddersfield. It's the origin of the Yorkshire Terrier, a little dog that you might know. The Yorkshire Terrier breed originated in Huddersfield in the 1860s, with a dog named Huddersfield Ben, considered the breed's foundational sire. Hollywood connections. Sir Patrick Stewart of Star Trek grew up nearby Mirfield and was the Chancellor of the Huddersfield University, my university. That was the main reason I wanted to do my psychology degree, but he was doing the X-Men movie at the time, so I didn't get to see him. I saw a video. He showed a video and said, "Sorry, he's not there." Ah, disappointing. It's also Huddersfield is ranked as the third largest city or town in West Yorkshire, following Leeds and then Bradford. And in the late 1950s and 60s, factories and textile mills drew workers from India and Pakistan. So there's a big population of of ethnic people there. And my ethnicity, the Windrush generation, the Caribbean immigrants arrived to work in public transport and services, contributing to the town's growth. And Huddersfield was the site of the industrial kind of powerhouse of England. So it was known for its high quality woolen textiles, and the town was vital during the Industrial Revolution. So you can see here, this is part of my old university. We're looking at one of the original textile mills in Huddersfield, and it's been converted into a student accommodation now, which is a fitting symbol of how our industry has shifted from the physical craft to now knowledge work or digital work. But the bones of the mill owner's architecture still remain in our time. It's reminding us of a time when human labor was first treated as an obstacle to be automated. And a bit more history of my town. So here we are on this. There's a historical tour of William Horsfell's last steps. I used to walk these streets every day to school. It was right next to my school. So in 1812, Horsfall was a mill owner who famously said he would ride up to the saddle girths, in Luddite blood. He was murdered just a few yards from where I grew up, which was kind of creepy. This isn't just a history lesson for me, it's a visceral local reality that kind of informs my critique of today's AI mill owners. So, in this mirror, we see the genie and the bottle argument. So, just as the 1812 paper spoke of a tide that was coming in with this new technology. In 2026 editorial in The Guardian argues that because the AI genie is out of the bottle, sorry, and resistance is pointless. So this framing is designed to bypass ethical vetting and shift the burden of proof from the developer to us, the user, the consumers. So what I did, I conducted a comparative discourse analysis by mirroring 19th century archive reports against modern media commentary. I identified a recurring mill owner playbook, specifically what I call the rules of inevitability, that is used in both eras to sideline the craftsman or the teacher. And this methodology proves that our current AI revolution is actually a predictable historical cycle that we have the agency to interrupt. So what I found wasn't progress, it was kind of a script. I realized that people selling us technology today are using the exact same rules of inevitability that the mill owners used 200 years ago to silence the craftsmen. My methodology isn't just about history, it's a diagnostic tool to help us stop zombie walking and start taking responsibility for our own classrooms. So I've revived the 1812 term spiderwork to describe AI generated content. So for the Luddites, it meant hollow machine-made cloth that looked right but lacked integrity. In TESOL, AI feedback is our modern spiderwork. It is statistically probable and usually correct, but kind of empty, soulless. So when we allow AI to substitute for the mentor, the teacher, we aren't gaining efficiency. We are mass producing a hollowed out education that extracts the soul from the craft of teaching. And, just want to kind of explain the lens of how I'm doing this study. So I'm a Xennial, born in 1982. I occupy a kind of unique bridge position. So I remember analog library cards and the screen dial-up, all these things. And I've also spent my adult in the smartphone era. I remember Nokias and all those new phones that were coming up and Blackberries. This gives me kind of a unique vantage point. I see technology as a tool we choose to use, not a biological necessity that I think a lot of digital natives see it as now. And we are the generation that must kind of stop this mindless zombie walking. We have the power to kind of see both sides and stop us walking into a substituted future and ask if we are actually moving in the right direction. So the creativity gap. So the machine that fails in the creativity gap, as noted by Bender, 2021, AI is what he calls a stochastic parrot. It mimics the form of language without ever grasping its meaning. It fails to navigate the zeitgeist, the slang, the memes, the pragmatic nuance of human communication. My job as a teacher is to protect this gap, ensuring that students' unique voice isn't smoothed over by the statistical average of an algorithm. So the combo system, you all know that I'm a bit of a gamer. So in Street Fighter 2, the combo system was originally a technical bug. Players, or the craftsmen or teachers of the arcade, or the experts, exploited this glitch to create a new way of playing. This is my vision for AI, emergent agency. We don't just use AI to replace writing, we exploit its bugs and biases to teach critical thinking. We use it as a meta-linguistic mirror to show students where the machine lacks a human soul. So now we must look at the SAMR model and draw a hard line at substitution. So I think of the VR den in the movie Upgrade, a good movie you should watch, I would say. It deals with a lot of AI and um, losing our agency. But anyway, in the movie Upgrade, there's a state where kind of people opt out of reality entirely for a digital hallucination. If we let AI do the thinking for us, we are creating kind of a VR den in the classroom. So we must push for redefinition, where technology allows the human craftsman to do what was previously impossible, rather than doing the work for us. So just a bit more on substitution and the perils of this. So I know that this image is a little bit extreme and a little bit dystopian, but I wanted to get the message across that this is the result if we continue to substitute our agency and human creativity. If we continue to zombie walk like we have been doing in this 20-year experiment with technology and now AI, this could be our future. And we're already seeing some negative effects of not taking responsibility. The movie Upgrade, as I've mentioned, portrays a world where most of humanity has substituted their own lives and agency for comfort. In a way, the Luddites in the 19th century were trying to warn us of this and the spider work of the machines. And just to add, I'm not against using VR or AI. I only want us to treat them as tools, not substitutes for us as people. So here's the movie here if you want to watch it. Good movie. Okay, so in April, I begin my new role at Tokyo's affiliated school, the University of Tokyo's affiliated school. This project isn't just a theory. I want to kind of make something practical or a praxis. So I'm implementing the U Tokyo blueprint, as I called it, acting as a diagnostic filter to ensure every digital tool serves a community of inquiry. So we are moving from being passive technicians to being master craftsmen with uh, intentional designing the educational ecology, if that makes sense. So we are intentionally designing the kind of environment using AI. So as we look forward, the future of the classroom, we have to confront what Stephenson 2025 identifies as the northern monopoly on linguistic technology. Most AI systems are built on Western-centric data and treat language as a sterile set of abstract rules, a mathematical output that can be automated and extracted. This is digital spiderwork that treats the human voice as something to be managed rather than something to be heard. My praxis at the University of Tokyo is a direct rejection of this sterile model. Instead of viewing language as a static product, I am centering the concept of languaging, a term from the most recent 2025 research that defines communication as a diverse human act of resistance. Languaging is an embodied social process. It is how we navigate our culture and our environment. By bringing this into the classroom, I am ensuring that we aren't just zombie walking through a curriculum dictated by the mill owners or big tech. We are acting as master craftsmen, treating every linguistic exchange as a site of agency and protection of the human through line. So before we wrap up, it is vital to recognize that the human through line is no longer just a solitary act of resistance. As this week, or maybe 2 weeks back, in March 28th, 2026, we are witnessing a kind of a historic turning point. So international regulators have finally moved to bring the mill owners of big tech to heel. So dismantling the ruse that their expansion is inevitable or untouchable. So this systemic shift shows that the human in the loop framework we are implementing at Utokyo or anywhere else isn't just a niche pedagogical choice. It is a move towards the global accountability that the world is now demanding. The era of zombie walking through technology unvetted is over. The era of the master craftsman has returned. So I want to finish by answering the call of Lord Byron, made in 1812. He demanded that we value the human through line over the machine. My vision is a classroom that is critical but not dismissive. We look up from our glowing screens, acknowledge the human presence across from us, and ensure that every linguistic breakthrough is driven by the human spirit, not a statistical prediction. Thank you very much. And here's my references.